Hello everybody, I hope this video finds you well. This video I would like to discuss body image. Now body image does tie into your mental health in many different ways because it has to do with your perception of yourself. So with body image positivity spreading through the internet, it is important to realize that it is something that has been, in my opinion, long overdue, because there are so many people out there who suffer with the perception that they have of themselves and their bodies that have done a lot of detrimental things to themselves or have diminished their self-esteem or their sense of confidence because of all of the different things that led them to have those issues to begin with. Now, body image has to do with how the individual with the body sees themselves. Not sees how their body is in reality, but it happens when there's an over amplification of certain body parts on them that they feel are flawed. And when someone has a very bad body image, they will see every defect or defective flaw that they have as amplified. They feel like it ruins who they are. They feel low confidence, they have low self-esteem, and they don't see themselves as beautifully as they truly should. Now, I want to emphasize that a lot of body image issues have to do with comparison. Once we are stuck comparing ourselves to what is displayed out there, to what is advertised as a standard of beauty, that's when that cognitive dissonance between who you are and who you should be according to standards out there and advertisements and marketing, there's a big gap. When we look at ourselves, when we put ourselves under the magnifying glass, we feel like we are falling short of that image, falling short of that ideal of what it looks like to be a woman or a man or someone who's non-binary. And it creates this sense of lack. It creates a sense of a need to altercate ourselves, to alter our bodies, to become what we think will make us a whole person, or what we think will make us attractive or desirable. Now, I want to highlight that body image, while there is a vast advertisement towards women with the makeup industry, it is not a factor to take in to minimize the fact that body image issues can also affect men. There are many different examples that each gender is affected, or that even a non-binary person will feel, because non-binary has been a recent culturally advertised term and accepted term, given the fact that there are some people out there also that don't feel like they identify with one or the other of a male or a female. They feel like they are just simply a person. And there is lack of representation with that as well. There's lack of representation of what it is to be a woman and a man, because throughout time there have been constructs that have kind of pushed everyone into a box, when in reality beauty is literally in the eye of the beholder. We have the opportunity to define what's beautiful. We have the opportunity to create those standards for ourselves. But how does one do that in a world where an image or an expectation is constantly shoved in the face of consumers? How do we represent those who are underrepresented? How do we make beauty more vast, more expansive, more inclusive, and more androgynous, in the sense where, people can have both characteristics, male and female. They can blur the lines of those gender spectrums if they want to. They can feel the freedom to express themselves using the things that are typically shunned of being too manly or too feminine. So, some examples of that. For example, body image pressures for women can be in makeup advertisements. I know it's a business. They gotta do what they gotta do as a business, I guess. But at the same time, they're trying to emphasize that you need to be a certain size or a certain shade of skin, or you need to have your hair natural or look this natural or not have wrinkles, not age, not be bigger than this, not be smaller than this, etc. And for men, it can be the fact that they need to be strong, they need to be muscular, they're losing their hair, that's not right, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's so many little examples in it. And then there's that spectrum where it could be with somebody who feels like they want to wear makeup, a man who wants to wear makeup, a female who doesn't want to wear makeup, a female who wants to wear suits, a male who wants to wear dresses. That's an even more complex route that still has yet to be something that has been evolved in modern day society and advertising. And those things can cause that cognitive dissonance. And with that cognitive dissonance, that is why there is such a big case and big number load for people that have self-esteem issues, that can be depressive, that can be anxious. And in other realms too, it can cause eating disorders. Eating disorders are heavily tied into body image. So you will see people that have binge eating disorder, bulimic disorder, and anorexia disorder. And then there's body dysmorphic disorder. So what happens is, if you're not familiar with the terms, bulimic disorder is when an individual eats, but they purge themselves, whether through laxatives or vomiting, in order to lose what they just ate so that way they won't get bigger or gain weight. And that can be very detrimental to their health. The side effects of all of that and the consequences of being bulimic include an individual losing their teeth, their stomach isn't strong anymore, they'll have acidic issues, their heart is going to grow really weak, they're not getting nutrients that they need in their body, and on top of not having the nutrients, they go through a lot of stress. And if somebody's already particularly vulnerable with the way they see themselves, and they start taking in these practices to try to get themselves to achieve that certain body type, it's detrimental to health, it's detrimental to mental health. And we need to fix this. That's why I want to make this video, to talk about this and hopefully open up a conversation where you can discuss this with a loved one or with a stranger or with anybody, sharing it on social media, whatever it may be. I want this conversation to be opened up. People become anorexic. In anorexia disorder, it's an over attentiveness to one's weight, not wanting to lose a single pound or ounce or gain a single pound or ounce, constantly being fixated on caloric count, nutrition count, and just trying so hard to fit into that tiny little box that they think they need to be in because of these portrayals of society. And there are many different instances. The binge eating disorder is another one, but binge eating disorder is another eating disorder that is actually not commonly known, but it has to do with somebody who eats a lot and then all of a sudden for long periods of time won't eat, and then again will eat a lot and then overcompensate by not eating. And it's a little bit less obvious because it's something that is probably more common and probably affects more people than we think it does. So those are the little eating disorders within that. And then within the body image disorder, there's body dysmorphic disorder. And that happens when one person feels like they are not a part of their bodies. They feel like their body is alien to them, and they feel like they need to altercate it. They will see features exaggerated more than they really are. So for example, if someone is insecure about their nose because they don't have whatever nose people typically are seen as beautiful, whether it be pointy or smaller or shaped a certain way. For example, if that person doesn't have that cookie cutter image of a nose or cookie cutter image of their hair texture or their skin condition or the size of their lips or their eyelash length, or for example, they think their hips are whatever size, they think that their legs are too short or too bulky or whatever it is that they perceive it as, or too frail, they see that, and that stems from the comparison of the societal standard of what they should look like, and then they see what their bodies are. And then on top of seeing that their body is a cookie cutter, I want to emphasize that our bodies aren't meant to be cookie cutters. We're not all meant to look the same or meant to look a certain way. I think you need to be able to embrace your uniqueness, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But when you don't fit in that specific type, that's when that body dysmorphic disorder starts happening. That's when, for example, that nose that may be above average of what is seen on advertisements, that person will see that part of their body exaggerated. They'll see the features that they're not so proud of because they compared it to a standard, or they're insecure about because it doesn't match what everybody's expecting out of a woman, a man, or an individual. They start seeing like those features exaggerated more than it really is, and it causes them to feel like they're in something that's not theirs, or that they're a monster, or that they're alien to everybody. They feel like they're not fitting into what it looks like to be a human, or the average human, or the average woman, man, whatever it may be. So body dysmorphic disorder can be very detrimental because it leads people to do a lot of self-deprecating practices. It has been known that there's a correlation between body image, self-esteem, and self-harm. So it's important to make sure that we keep an eye on individuals when they talk about themselves, that we do not put pressure on people to look a certain way, that we do not criticize their shortcomings or their flaws or whatever they're insecure about, that we don't do that to them and put them comparing to the light of whatever is on TV or whatever is on the internet or in videos or whatever it may be. It's important for us to not put each other down, and also to not put ourselves down, because I see a lot of trends where, for example, a celebrity will get lip fillers, and all of a sudden you see this surge of individuals getting lip fillers because they want their lips to look like that celebrity's lips, because that celebrity is famous, that celebrity is seen as beautiful, that celebrity is celebrated for looking the way they are. Or, for example, a woman feels that she's not feminine enough because all the models out there have a bigger bust or smaller waist or this or that or the other, and they go out and get surgeries. There's a surge of that because people feel like they need to fix themselves to look a certain way, and that's not right. That's something that needs to be changed. That's something that desperately needs to be changed, because then all the little kids out there, all the little girls, all the little boys, all the little human beings out there are going to be growing up thinking that they have to change who they are in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, and in order to feel like they belong somewhere or to be noticed. The thing is, when it comes to body image, it all has to start with the inside. It all has to start with how you see yourself. So instead and before you decide to compare yourself to somebody else or to how somebody else looks, I want you to stop. When you're talking to yourself ugly, or you hear your relative or loved one talking to themselves ugly about the way they look or the way they don't look, stop them. Stop yourself and think, wait, why am I comparing myself to this? They're a business. They're going to be wanting to make money off of your insecurities. They're going to be wanting to make money off of you buying those products so you can push yourself to look like that, when that's not realistic. Not even that's realistic. It's photoshopped, or it's edited and altered, or it's surgery, and it's not fair for you to put all that pressure and all that work on yourself to look like X, Y, or Z when you are your own unique being. You were created with your own beauty. You have to understand that you contain your own beauty. It has to stop where we're telling ourselves, my hair needs to be longer, my hair needs to be this color, it needs to be this texture, my skin needs to be this color, my eyes need to be this color, my eyelashes need to be this length, or my body needs to be this small in some parts, it needs to also be big in these parts, or I need to be stronger, I need to be more masculine, I need to have more muscles. Oh man, I shouldn't be dressing this way. Oh, I can't wear pink because it's shunned upon, because it's not manly. Or I can't wear a dress because they're gonna see me as weird because men don't wear dresses. Or I can't wear a suit because I'm supposed to be feminine and crossing my legs with a dress. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. We need to stop telling ourselves what we need to be, how we need to look, and we need to stop letting those voices win. We need to stop letting those industries dictate how we feel about ourselves and dictate how we see ourselves. You want to look a certain way? You do it. If you want to put lipstick a certain way, you do it. If you don't want to put lipstick, do that. If you want to wear a freaking dress, you go wear a dress and put a pair of heels with it if you want to, or don't. You want to wear a suit, wear a suit. You want to wear masculine colors, you want to wear men's clothing in that men's department, do it. You want to wear women's department clothing in the women's department, do it. You want to embrace the natural texture of your hair, own it. That is what makes you unique. It needs to stop where we tell ourselves that we need to look this way. Instead, accept who you are and how you look, and embrace that, and embrace how unique you are. There's nobody else like you. Isn't that something beautiful enough? You're not like anybody else. Nobody else could look like you, even if they tried. You know what I mean? Switch it up. Just be like, instead of saying, oh man, like, I don't look like this celebrity, just be like, hey, that celebrity doesn't look like me. Think about it. Just because it's shoved in your face and just because it is ruled as the reality in this world, it doesn't make it necessary to be your reality or the way you see yourself. It changes when you start loving yourself. You start loving yourself, truly loving yourself, and embracing all the things that make you you. All the things that have been shunned, all the things that have been ridiculed or told that they need to change. Embrace the things that you don't need to change, because guess what? You're perfect the way you are. And if you want to exercise, if you still want to lose weight or whatever, by all means do it. Part of body acceptance isn't about, all right, I'm just gonna step away from it all, defy everything. It's about doing what makes you feel good. It's about accepting your body the way it is. And therefore, if you do things such as exercising for your health or for your happiness or endorphins or whatever it may be, make sure you're doing it for you. Make sure you're doing it because it makes you happy. Make sure you're doing it for your physical health and also your mental and emotional health. And therefore, that's when you gain power over your own body, over your own appearance, and over the way you express yourself in this world with the flesh that you're living in. Accept your body, accept yourself, and love yourself. It won't change until we start it with ourselves, until we start questioning what we should look like and start thinking for ourselves with how we should look and how we want to look and how we want to express our external selves to the outside world. It changes when you take back that power. It changes when you become your own person. So do that. Love yourself. Thank you very much. Pay it forward, and together we can make this world a more beautiful place by including how diverse we all are and how diverse all our definitions of beauty can be. Have a great mental health day, and thank you for watching.